Oh, there's a live transcription that's kind of scary.
Oh, wow, I didn't even realize. That's cool. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right, hello, my name is Ariana Taylor, and pretty much, I thought that community, the communication of mediation technology is pretty cool. My overall opinion on this topic was I found it interesting. I pretty much found it interesting because I use it in my day to day life pretty much all the time, especially since when COVID hit. It's kind of like we moved into the world of computer mediated technology with school, work, communicating with friends and family. So I found it interesting to learn more about not only how people use it in their day to days, but how it's also used more than just communication. It's pretty much the technology we're given to communicate with others when face to face isn't an option. So I really like that about this process.
Hi, my name is Rick. When I was researching the mediated communication topic, one of the things I found really interesting was that the articles and the research and all the papers that are written about it over the course of like the last 20 years have like changed so dramatically. Looking at the textbook, you can see that there are like these articles that talk about like internet addiction and some of the dangers of the internet. It makes it sound so scary, but like the more modern articles just are so like the technology has advanced so fast and like the actual culture on the internet has changed so much that everything is just completely different now. Things get irrelevant so quickly.
Hi, my name is Autumn Hurst. And okay, so being really honest, I had no idea really about mediated communications, nor did I think of like how we communicate using technology. Like I know that we do, but until it was brought to my attention, this subject was something very foreign to me. And then also with how we communicate, I never understood or tried to see how I was being perceived when I communicated, but now I can see that sometimes a lot of miscommunication can happen during technology because you kind of can't have facial expressions and everything can be misinterpreted.
All right. Okay, I will ask my 3 questions first. The first one, let's see. How can you be sure to keep your personal information safe while engaging in computer-mediated communication?
Okay, so I think that's really hard to do with the way things can be like screenshotted, shared, pictures can be taken of your information. I feel like the best way to try and keep your personal information, it's probably not by like giving it out, but like trying to like either only sharing it with people who you actually trust, or to just keep it to yourself, pretty much. So yeah, that's about it.
Sounds good. All right. And then my second question, how does like the unknown and uncertainty when communicating in a mediated medium, especially online, contribute to conflict?
Um, for that one, it's pretty much since you don't know the possibilities of the things that happen online, it's it's hard to it's hard to like think about what could be happening. So with that, I feel like it's the same thing for my first answer. Like, just don't share, or just like keep it to yourself. Or if you have to post something, post things that you wouldn't mind. Share things that you wouldn't mind other people knowing. So yeah.
Agreed. But I also feel like just in general with that communication is very misinterpreted, like I said before. Like I know you have emojis and I know you have all that stuff, but sometimes I can easily misinterpret something based on like technology.
Yeah, I agree. Like sometimes people like capitalize something and be like, do they mean to emphasize that word more? Should I be scared?
Are you yelling at me?
Or when they put a period at the end, are you
Oh my
upset?
gosh.
Yeah. Or exclamation points. I'm like, is this happy or are you mad?
Are you? Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And then my third and final question, what strategies can be used, or just like general ideas, to help manage communication online when it turns into a conflict or gets aggressive?
Um, I get this is so corny, but communicate it out. Like actually, take the time to try and speak it out as best as you can. Like if you were when it's not face to face, it is difficult to get your point across and like the calmest way that you can. So I feel like you would have to try to like mellow it out until the point is given across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think that is needed, but then at the same time I hate it because like say you're on the phone and we have conflict and you hung up on me. I'm upset now. Like
Yeah.
I'm really upset. But at the same time, that's good because you hung up on me, you know, establish your boundaries. Because I am very confrontational. Like I will argue all day. But my mom, like she's not very confrontational. So if we like have an argument or something, I think it's best when I text my mom because she has time to process it and like she can't hear my actual anger. Like, not that I'm gonna yell at her, but you know, it gives everybody time to process. So I think it's like good and bad.
Yeah, the text definitely talks about how CMC it's an advantage because you do get that time to text it out and you know it's not like writing your face as face to face would be. You get time to process everything that's happening. So that's definitely something.
Yeah, I agree. I find that being able to take a step back and like just take a breath before responding is such a huge advantage.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I have some questions.
Yes.
So, do you guys think language used in mediated communications creates conflict?
Yes, I definitely do think that, especially like when you're on a phone or texting someone and you don't have like the nonverbal cues, like you can't see their face or their body language. It's very, very easy to misinterpret something they said, and that can very quickly lead to a conflict. Like we were talking about earlier, like capitalization or punctuation can make you think a lot about the tone of a message. If someone says okay and they put a period at the end of it, it's not the same as just okay without a period, you know? I think like a lot of times interpreting that differently as the person intended you to will lead to some interesting conflicts.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Especially when it's like over the phone too, because you get that you have the tone of voice they have, but it's still not in person, so you can't see their nonverbal cues. So language definitely affects the way that the communication is perceived when it's not clear for anybody. So yeah, but I definitely agree with you, Rick, with that one.
All right. And what are your conflict management styles and how do they relate to how you solve conflict during mediated communication?
So one of my conflict management styles is pretty much I have to talk it out because if I don't, it won't get solved and I start overthinking. So I use that in mediated communication pretty much by, like I said, talking it out. If face to face isn't possible, like we'll get on FaceTime so that I can actually see the person and I can see their facial expressions and so that they can see mine, so we can actually like have a step. Even though it's technically face to face still, it's still giving me a chance to like Rick said earlier, take a step back and like speak about it and so that things can get settled like that pretty much.
Yeah, I definitely agree. My conflict management style is very much like a try to take a step back and look at the situation from like as objectively as I can, and then try to find a solution where everybody walks away less angry than they were before, maybe happy if I can manage. Especially with my upbringing, that's just how my family has always taken an approach to solving our conflicts with each other. It's, you know, we get mad pretty quick, but we'll just take a step back and wait a day, let everyone eat some food and take a nap or something, and then come back and like talk about it more rationally. I think with a mediated conflict, that's like it's very easy to do that pretty quickly, and just be able to stop communicating with somebody, take a step back, think, and then come back to the communication. It's just that opportunity is very nice to have.
All right. And my last question is, would you prefer mediated communications or in-person communications when it comes to handling conflict?
Personally, I definitely prefer mediated communication. I'm a pretty non-confrontational person, and I get anxious when I'm confronted very quickly. So having like a barrier between that is really nice. Like if I'm in a phone call or something, I can like mute my mic or like turn it down. If I'm in a Zoom call, I can turn my camera off and walk away if I need to. or just like if I'm being texted, just completely ignore it for a bit.
Yeah.
But in person, you're there, you don't have that luxury. So I definitely prefer mediated communication a bit for managing conflicts.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I am very non-confrontational, and my anxiety is so bad. So I definitely prefer mediated communication, but I'm also really bad at responding. So it's kind of like I don't want to respond. If I see something I don't like, I don't want to respond to it. So I'm actually going to say face to face for me because it kind of pushes me to actually communicate what I feel, even though I'm going to be anxious the whole time. But me being able to see that person and actually like tell them like, hey, I'm upset because of this, this, and this. Please fix it. Like, and they can see my expressions and all that stuff. Because sometimes over text, I feel like I'll be like, okay, and then the person might think everything's all right. In reality, it's just not. And I just don't know how to communicate over text like that. But so yeah, I prefer face to face overall.
Me too, because I have to talk it out or I will literally explode.
All right, and my turn for my 3 questions. So my first question is, how do you guys use mediated communication in your life, especially since like COVID and all that good stuff happened?
I can start with this one. Media communication, actually, even before COVID for me, has always been a pretty big thing. I'm immunocompromised, so I can't like get out too much. And so I sort of turned to like online communities for a lot of like smaller socialization and entertainment stuff. And it's actually got to a point where it became my job for a bit to basically manage like mediated communication channels.
Wow.
Nice.
So basically, without media communication, I don't think I'd have as many friends as I do, or like be in a position in life that I'm in right now. So I have it quite a bit to thank for.
That's
for
cool.
where I'm at.
It's cool. All right, and can we ask the question again? I forgot it.
Oh, pretty much. I'm so sorry. 1 second.
Your question was, how has mediated communication influenced your life, and like how has it helped you in your personal life?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Should I wait for her to get back or should I answer?
I'm sure you can answer now. It'll be fine.
All right. So it definitely helped a lot during COVID because my grandma, she's older. So I couldn't really see her as much, but we come from like a really big family and we we're always hanging out and like seeing each other. So it was very important that I was able to communicate with them properly. And also like my best friend, she moved far away and I needed to be able to communicate and speak to her and make sure she was okay. So it definitely was more positive than negative.
That's sorry about that, guys. Apologize.
You're all good. But yeah, I would agree. Especially the long distance thing. My best friend lives in Utah, and I never would have met them or been able to talk to them without without mediated communication.
Yeah, my boyfriend, he was in the army, so
Yeah,
That's my best friend.
literally cried. But yeah, okay. So my next question was pretty much in the textbook it talked about multiple theories that about the mediated communication. So what theory kind of spoke to you or you favored or you understood the most?
For me, when I was reading through the textbook and doing my research for the paper, the one that stood out to me a lot was the social information processing theory, which is basically that despite not having like the nonverbal cues and maybe missing out on certain aspects of communication when you're using media communication, we're still pretty good at picking up on smaller context clues. And that just really spoke a lot to me, especially because I use mediated communication so much. Every person is unique, but it's very possible to tell what a person is thinking and like read between the lines, even if you can't see them.
Yes, definitely.
I agree with you, but like, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I'm starting to feel like the reason why that works out so much is because we tend to know the people we communicate with on technology. So we tend to know like, oh, what they're gonna say and how they're gonna say. But when we get strangers, that's when it starts to go a little bit haywire. You're like, are you okay? Are we okay? And then you get to know them and you can do the same thing with them. So yeah, I totally agree with the social informational processing theory.
Yeah, I actually agree with that about strangers. It's, you get comfortable with people and then you start making these jokes to them and you can tell when a person is joking or being serious. And you have a new person come into the group and it's like, well, what do they mean?
Yeah. I definitely understand. That theory is also something I talked about. I really liked it because it kind of opened up the way of thinking from the other what was the other three theories of social communication. So I liked how this one was pretty much completely different from the other ones. I like that a lot.
This one also, in my opinion, had like the most positive outlook on mediated communication.
Yeah.
The other ones were all like so
Negative.
like, doomy and gloomy, and this one was like, oh, we can actually do it.
All right, and not gonna lie, I forgot my last question. So,
Oh, I have it written down here if you'd like. It is, how do you handle mediated communication when it gets aggressive?
yes, thank you. That was my last question.
Ooh. Oh wait, I want to answer this one. Okay,
Please-
so like I said, I am very aggressive. So like if you start texting me aggressively, I am like, okay, all right, bet. I want to see you. Let's meet. Let's talk. I cannot process it. And then I have to go tell my mom. I'm like ranting to my mom. I'm like, Mom, listen to this, listen to this. And my mom's like, why are you talking to me? Like I did it to you. And it's because it frustrates me. Like I hate communicating through technology, especially with conflict. It frustrates me to no end because I can't yell at you. I can see your facial expressions, and you can run away, and then I gotta wait for you to text me back or call me back. I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Me personally, I tend to either completely avoid it altogether, which isn't the best thing in the world, but sometimes I'll see a conflict coming up. I'm just like, I'm just going to not be involved in this. And I'll just like leave. But if it's like directed at me, oftentimes I'll try to diffuse the situation first. If it becomes aggressive, like I'll, try to placate the other person. And if they don't want to get calmer, I'll just be really petty about it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I love that. So thank you guys. Those are all my questions. Appreciate it.
Well, I think that brings us to the end of the presentation. I think we've all learned quite a bit about how mediated communication has become like a very, very important part of our lives over the last few years. And being able to learn about like the actual theories and some of the science behind it has been a pretty neat experience.
Yes.
100%.
And what's cool is that we're doing mediated communications right now.
That's a
Yeah.
science.
It's kind of fitting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, bye.
That is a good endpoint.
Yeah.